Hey there everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm a fingerstyle guitar player and retro video game nerd. What we've got on the table today is a brand new controller for the Nintendo Switch by NYXI. NYXI has been making a ton of controllers, mostly for the Switch, but we've got some really cool alternatives for your PC and even the GameCube. So they're kind of a rising star in the third-party controller scene these days, and for the most part they make some really good stuff. What we've got right here are your Joycon replacements for the Switch. This is the Hyperion 2. I've done a full review video on the Hyperion 1, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video. But first of all, let's talk about what we have on the table today. What we have are Hall effect joysticks, so you never have to worry about driftage over time. We've got some mechanical micro switchy buttons. We've got breathing RGB lighting and some removable face plates, which is kind of interesting. First thing that you're going to notice about these things is that they are a little bit thicker than your standard Joy-Cons for your Nintendo Switch. I myself have never been a fan of the Joy-Cons. They're just too darn small and they're very uncomfortable and not a good time in my opinion. So I've got the Switch turned on. You can see we've got some pretty RGB lights on the rings around your joysticks there. Those are really nice to mess around with. And you've got your own dedicated button back here where you can press it, and then you've got a lot of different colors that you can choose from. I like the rainbowy RGB colors there, that's fine. These are pretty good alternatives to your Joy-Cons that actually feel like controllers underneath your fingers. They don't just feel like a slab of plastic. They've actually got some grips to them. So when you're playing in handheld mode like this, they feel pretty darn good. The sticks are really good. Now you've got this little ring that goes around the joystick, and I'll try to get you some B-roll shots so you can see what I'm talking about. They've done this in the past. One complaint that I always have about controllers, when it's plastic on plastic, you get that really grindy sensation. It's hard to describe, but if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll agree with me. We don't like that. When plastic is grinding upon plastic, you get that plastic dust. The N64 is probably the best example of this in a controller, but some newer third-party controllers are guilty of that too. But what I like about the NYXI controllers, some of them anyway, you've got a nice little metal ring that goes around the joystick, so when it makes contact with the plastic, it's a lot smoother of a grinding sensation, if that makes sense. It's not plastic on plastic, which I think really goes a long way in longevity for these controllers. You've got the usual suspects on this guy. You've got a programmable back button on each Joy-Con, and that's kind of cool, I guess. You've got turbo features as well if you want to enable those. What we really like about NYXI, or at least what I really like about NYXI, is the micro switchy feel that some of these controllers have. You can hear that A button being mashed right now. It's almost like a mouse click. It's not micro switchy like we've seen in the past necessarily. It's a really nice click, which I do enjoy. I don't know what it is about that, but it's just really nice. And it's the same thing for your directional buttons. That's another thing that I do not enjoy though. I don't like directional buttons in place of a D-pad. PlayStation has gotten away with it for a long time, but it's easier to get used to in my opinion. I don't like the Joy-Cons specifically because of these buttons in place of a proper directional pad, and I talked about that in my other Hyperion video. It's really not a bad controller. Like I said, it's almost boring, man. Like, it's just a solid controller, a solid replacement for your Joy-Cons, and they slide off just like they've done in the past. You can have them in handheld like this and play on your Switch, just holding them in both hands, or you can attach them to your Switch. And I've really enjoyed playing through some games with this controller. I've played some Mario Tennis Aces, which is a really good test of a good controller in my opinion, because you really need to be precise in order to get these shots and everything. Really love that game, by the way. That's probably one of the few games that I go back to on the Switch just to play on the Switch. I'm not really a Switch guy, to be honest with you, but I really do enjoy that game on the Switch. Another one that I've checked out is Windjammers 2. That's a really cool game. That's a sequel to, of course, the Neo Geo classic that is Windjammers. It's basically like tennis back and forth, but with disc golf. It's really strange. Really super unique sports game, but it's a lot of fun. And it's also a good tester for a controller, because in that game you can do these wild spinning moves where you throw the disc and it veers off in a wild direction. You have to be flicky with that joystick to make that work, and I've had zero problems. Everything is pretty spot on as far as the controls are concerned. I don't feel like the controller is inhibiting me in any way. I'm doing a pretty good job with the gameplay like I normally would on this game. The other game that I checked out was Diablo 2 Resurrected on the Switch. Why do I have this game on the Switch? Well, because at the time of its release, I was in Dubai playing some music for like a 7-month long gig over there, and I wanted to play something on my off time, and I didn't have my gaming computer with me, obviously, all those miles away from home. So I said, screw it, I'll get it on the Switch, and it's actually a really fun experience on the Switch. And I've been playing it on the TV. Actually kind of got sucked back into it when I started playing it for this video. Both of the shoulder buttons feel really nice and responsive. You got a little click there on the ZR button, and the same thing on your R button. It feels really, really nice and very responsive. Now, the one thing that really kind of confuses me about this particular set of Joy-Cons is the fact that you can remove the faceplate. They're magnetically held on. I didn't even know about it until I actually read the manual. You know, I didn't know that these things actually came off. So the question is, why? Why does that happen? Why do these need to come off? And I cannot for the life of me find any reason other than to, you know, access the screws so you can open this thing up for any reason if you might need to do that. But I don't really know why that is. I thought maybe they were doing some customizable faceplates or something like that, but I haven't seen anything as the making of this video, and I looked. They just seem to describe that they're there, but they don't really give a specific purpose as far as I know. But both of them can come off. You can't interchange them. They're only specific to either the right or the left Joy-Con, which is just okay, I guess. You know, they've done something in the past with the PC controller that they've done with the NYXI Flexi, which is a controller designed for use with your PC, but the cool part about that is that you have an interchangeable analog stick and D-pad. So you can pull that housing out and essentially flip it upside down to where your D-pad's on top and your analog stick's on bottom. I thought that maybe they were going to do something like that with these, but no, there's not enough room to do that. So I'm not really sure why these faceplates come off. If you have a good example or reason that you might think they do, be sure to put that in the comment section below. It is a bit pricey though. For the Joy-Cons, you're paying a little bit extra for those Joy-Cons, but they're around the same price as your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. But if you had to A-B it, which one should I buy? Definitely these over the official Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. The sticks are not really recessed as much as the original Joy-Cons, but they're not crazy, like way out of the controller, if you know what I mean. They feel really, really nice and responsive, and in my big monkey hands, they fit just fine. They're not overly large, but they're not teeny tiny small like the actual Joy-Cons are. If you're trying to get some new Joy-Cons for your Switch, this is a great alternative to the actual Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. However, I cannot recommend them knowing that there's another option available. And of course, I'm going to be reverting back to the NYXI Hyperion Pro 1, the first Hyperion model. And the main reason why I would do that is because it's an actual controller. You can hold it like, you know, a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and it fits really nice in your hands. And like I said, I've done a separate video on this, so if you want to learn more about it, I go much more in depth in that video than I will in this one. But the thing I like about this is that you can pull it off of the middle partition right here, and then you've got Joy-Cons that you can either hold like this while you're sitting on the couch, or you can put it back together and have an actual controller. You can't do that with the Hyperion 2. They do not have a partition that you can use like that, so it looks like you either have to hold them like this or use them connected to the Switch, which is fine. But if you're looking for bang for your buck, I would much rather recommend this Hyperion Pro, the first one. And they've got a bunch of different colors and stuff. You also have some RGB lights on that as well. Like I said, check out that video, link in the description below if you really want to learn more about this. The only other thing I can tell you about these specific Joy-Cons is that they come with a carrying case like this, really nice little plastic clamshell case, which is nice, I guess. I mean, they haven't really done anything like this before. They do have like a carrying case for the Switch in general, but we've never seen anything like this from NYXI, to my knowledge. But other than that, man, that's pretty much it. You know, like I said, it's pretty cut and dry, so much to the fact that it's kind of boring. These are great alternatives to the actual Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, and they have a curve to them. They're a little bit more responsive in my opinion, and I like the RGB lights too. You can turn them off if you don't like them, that sort of thing. But seriously, if you're looking into getting some Joy-Cons that aren't Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, you should check out NYXI for a lot of different reasons, but I really cannot recommend the Hyperion Pro 1 enough. And if you're interested in either one of those, I've got a coupon code for you in the description below. Use that code travisbowmanmusic to get 10% off of any one of these NYXI controllers if you'd like. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Let me know what you think about NYXI controllers in general. Have you ever tried the Joy-Cons for your Nintendo Switch that are made by NYXI? You ever tried the Hyperion before? Or even one of their PC controllers, or of course, that really nice GameCube controller for your Nintendo GameCube. Thanks very much to NYXI for sending me this controller and that one for review. I really appreciate those guys. They're really, really cool people. From the very beginning, I told them I would love to review your stuff as long as I get to say whatever I think about it, and I'm not directed to do anything or say anything that isn't my opinion. And they were all on board for that. They're really, really good with content creators like me, and they're super nice, and they've got great customer service too. So I'll put the link in the description below so you guys can check this stuff out for yourself, but I'm really curious to know what you think. What is the best alternative Nintendo Switch Joy-Con? It could be the Hyperion Pro 2, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll catch you at the next video. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.